So one of the best way for me to manage that is to have my Tjanting tool rest on the cookie cutter just like that. And another reason is often, when I work, sometimes if I rest my Tjanting tool just like that, before I know it, the Tjanting tool, tend to fell in the hot wax, and that can get very annoying because then you have to, take it out and then clean the wood and whatnot. So here I'm going to show you guys how I will start the skillet at about 250 degrees, and as the wax melting, I'm going to show you guys also how the Tjanting tool that we will be using for the workshop also has a feature where it's very very helpful when you want to adjust the handle. So here you can see how I am able to unscrew the handle and remove the parts like that. So if you prefer to work with a longer handle like this has already been adjusted with a recycled paintbrush. So what I did is I took an old paintbrush like this. This is a fancier one, but you can use any paintbrush around the house that you don't want to use anymore. Sacrifice that one, and what I did is just cut. I want to keep the metal part. That's kind of good to protect the wood from all that constant exposure to heat. So I drill a little bit of hole in the wood here, and then now you can see how I'm able to extend and create a longer handle for myself, and just like that. So if you were to compare the original Tjanting that you get and how you can now adjust it to have a longer handle. So when you have a longer handle, you don't even need to have the cookie cutter that I have here, because your handle is long enough that you can just rest your tools like that. Let me see. So see in comparison here. So this can easily fall in the hot wax. So now my hot wax is melting. So I'm gonna move my Tjanting tools here to show you guys how, when I have the cookie cutter here, it's also helpful when I want to check how dirty my wax got. So what happened is, you see how I can just flip it and see the bottom of the wax here. So I can show you a little bit of dust. So there's always something that can fall in the hot wax as you work. So here there's a little bit of parts here, and I can remove it. So all the sediment, all the debris usually is at the bottom of the wax. So if you do this every time you melt your wax, you can actually make sure that you end up with a clean wax every time. Okay, so this handle is more than just something that I use to rest the Tjanting tool. Is something that is helpful when I want to check how much debris or impurities that I have at the bottom of my wax. So now it's gonna melt. The temperature, you don't want to start your skillet at the maximum heat. That's not good, because when you have too high of the heat going on, this can get very smoky and it can cause fire. And so we want to start somewhere like in the middle. If your skillet does not have a temperature control here, start somewhere in the middle. Okay. If you have a thermometer around, that can also be handy. I can tell you exactly that it is around 250 degrees. So it is very hot, so ensure to be very careful when you work with the hot wax. And because of that, what happens is when you work with your Tjanting tools, you want to really get in the habit of being extra careful not to, have your hand accidentally touch the skillet, and that can happen. It happened to me plenty of time, and so be careful with that. So now you can see the wax is melting, and I get a little heart floating around the hot wax. That's from the shape of my cookie cutter here. You can use any shape you want, but I found that this one here that has a handle is great for me to do what I need to do. So let's see, I'm going to put this right back. Now I want to check the temperature so you can see how hot the temperature of the wax is. I hope you can see the reading on the screen. Right now it's not fully melting yet, but the temperature is going up and up and up. So it's at 89 now. And as you melt the wax, you also want to get your tools ready, so you can start to put your Tjanting in the skillet. And I usually try to do this to get the copper part, and my Tjanting also need to be hot. It is at 93, 94, 95. So this is going to keep going up all the way to 225 degrees, 250 degrees, sorry. So now you can see all the wax is melting, and the temperature will keep going all the way to 250. Some of you have also asked me where can they find this tool. This is a black among Tjanting tool. It's very rustic. It's basically kind of like a copper element to hold the heat that's attached to the bamboo stick, and it's impossible to find this tool in the United States, and it's also have been very difficult to have this shipped to me from northern Vietnam, specifically in Sapa area where the Black Hamong do their batik. So I have not been able to bring in this tool from Sapa, although we have tried many times to have it shipped over, but usually I think they are quite uncomfortable to do the international mailing and shipping for me. So I hope if I had traveled back to northern Vietnam, we'll be able to get more of this tool so we can share it with all of you. So you can see how this is how you're going to use your Tjanting tool to scoop the hot wax. So like I said, when you have the longer your handle, the better it is to work. But it really depends on on how you connect with the tool. So if you feel that the shorter one works better for you, then you don't have to adjust the handle. But if you need a longer handle, at least you can do that by attaching a longer handle, recycle from paintbrush, for example, to the reservoir, to the copper part of the Tjanting tool that you have. Okay, so here I'm going to bring it closer to you so you can see it is reading about 245 or 44. Okay, so that's how hot you want your hot wax to be for it to drip and flow very nicely when you do your Tjanting work. Okay.